is ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CORETV News, expanding your view.
Hello everyone, this is CORETV News with me, Femi Oguntoye. The Defense Headquarters says troops operating in the north, central and northwestern parts of the country have recovered caches of arms and ammunition in the areas. The Director of Defense Information, Chris Olukolade, says troops seized the cache of arms run by a member of an armed gang during a condone and set operation at Anyibe in local government area of Benue State. It says 2 rifles, 3 locally fabricated pistols, and 61 rounds of special ammunition were recovered during the operation. In another operation, 5 guns, 3 locally fabricated pistols, and 2 revolvers were recovered from armed gang in the hideout in Plateau. Olukolade says the operation to rid the north, central, and northwest parts of armed gangs is yielding result. Nigeria police authorities are offering a 50 million naira reward for information on the location of hundreds of schoolgirls abducted from Chibok, Borno State, over 3 weeks ago. Police spokesman Frank Mba hopes that the cash offer would help pave way for credible information that would lead to the rescue of the girls. The police also released 6 hotlines through which information could be shared with investigators. The numbers are 09291 4649, 080 81777 309, or 080 55547536, 080 32 125050, or 080 34617591, and others are 080 35 969731. The police spokesman says all information would be treated with confidentiality. In Kogi State, Police Command has aborted a planned protest by civil society organizations in the state against the abduction and continued non-release of the girls. CORETV News gathered that the civil society organizations had perfected plans to embark on the protest in Lokoja, but had to stop following a letter from the State Commissioner of Police, Saudu Madawaki. A letter signed on behalf of the Commissioner of Police and Assistant Commissioner of Police Abdul Mohammed says the protest was disallowed because of the prevailing security situation in the country. French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius says a special team is at Nigeria's disposal to help authorities look for more than 200 girls kidnapped by Boko Haram. France says a special team with all resources in the region is at the disposal of Nigeria to help in the search and recovery of the young girls. Fabius told Parliament that the girls were kidnapped 3 weeks ago in an incident that has shocked the world. Amidst foreign aid, the Chinese government has also pledged to join in global efforts to find and rescue hundreds of schoolgirls abducted from Chibok, Borno State. This decision was taken at a bilateral meeting between China and Nigeria in Abuja. A number of trade and investment deals were also signed by President Jonathan and the Premier of China. The report is presented from our studios.
It was the culmination of bilateral deals struck during President Jonathan's visit to China last year with a business delegation. But the Chinese Premier's return visit is coming at the time Nigeria is in the center of a global outrage. 200 schoolgirls kidnapped by insurgents from their dormitories in the dead of the night. Trade and investment deals were sealed in areas such as energy and infrastructure development at the closed-door meeting.
The resolve to strengthen coordination and cooperation in African peace and security affairs. The Nigerian side expressed appreciation for China's efforts to actively participate in the mediation of hotspots in Africa. The two sides consider Nigeria-China strategic partnership as an important component of the new type of China-Africa strategic partnership. They spoke highly of their traditional friendships and believed that China-Africa cooperation should be a model of cooperation among developing countries. They agreed to promote all-round concrete cooperation in poverty reduction, infrastructure development, finance, human resources development, cultural exchanges, and environmental protection. The two sides look
The two leaders also exchanged views on Sino-Nigeria relations, as well as ways of charting a new course for closer cooperation in various fields in the future. President Jonathan and Premier Li Keqiang, however, believe that the cooperation will be extended to the area of security, particularly in the quest to rescue the abducted girls from their captors.
Investment in the real sector of the economy, but that's the only way you can expand the economy. We also have to invest in infrastructure, and we're also looking for direct investment and support, and that's one of the key areas we've just discussed. The area of infrastructure like power, infrastructure, transportation, cutting across air, roads and railways, just mentioned to you. And of course, we've directed the ministers of trade to work towards signing the investment, protection and promotion agreements and bilateral trade agreements. All this will encourage trade and industry, and this is the area that we're emphasizing now, so that we continue to expand on the economy.
In addition, China and Nigeria agreed to take further steps to strengthen bilateral consular and judicial cooperation, as well as implement an agreement on mutual visa exemption for holders of diplomatic and service passports. The Chinese premier, who is on a 2-day state visit to Nigeria, would also participate in the World Economic Forum on Africa.
Nigeria obviously isn't alone in the fight against terrorism, as it has received commitment from Britain to deploy its intelligence gathering resources to support ongoing efforts to rescue the abducted Chibok schoolgirls. The show of support has come barely 24 hours after President Goodluck Jonathan received a similar assurance from U.S. President Barack Obama. Presidential spokesman Reuben Abati says British Prime Minister David Cameron made the promise during a phone call with President Jonathan.
Told Prime Minister David Cameron that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will work with the British government through its High Commission in Nigeria to work practical details of the promised support and collaboration against terrorism. Today, the People's Republic of China also offered to assist in the effort to rescue the abducted girls. In talks with President Jonathan earlier today, Premier Li Keqiang promised that his country will make any useful information acquired by satellites and intelligence services available to Nigeria's security agencies. Mr. Keqiang assured the President that China will support Nigeria's fight against terrorism in every possible way, including the training of military personnel for anti-insurgency operations. Thank you.
As part of efforts to prevent terror attack on the state, the Ekiti state government has launched into operations closed-circuit television system CCTV in Ado-Ekiti. The state also commissioned the fiber optic internet facility designed to serve immediate security needs of the state. Rashid was at the venue of the launch and filed in this report.
The rising insecurity in Nigeria has drawn international support and a need for security agencies to step up efforts in fighting terrorists. Though the security situation may differ from one zone to another, the primary responsibility of protecting lives and properties remains a priority. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Southwest, Peter Ghana, assures the people of Ekiti that the police will ensure safety of all residents before, during and after the governorship election in Ekiti.
And that is the assurance that the police command will be giving every support that it needs to guarantee a peaceful election in Ekiti State.
Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi says all hands are on deck to ensure the security of lives and properties during the forthcoming election.
We're working in that direction here in Ekiti to ensure that all parties involved, the police, the political parties, critical stakeholders, all come together and commit themselves to peace.
Governor Fayemi says the state is under-policed and it poses a great danger for the free conduct of elections.
Change of name that the AIG knows harassing all the time. I'll be going into election with me. I have the compo that have been taken in that direction. Also aware that it's not the full company of people that have been saying.
Responding, the Deputy Inspector General of Police says the peaceful conduct of election is a priority and the police will not rest in ensuring the peace in Ekiti.
We will do everything in terms of logistics and manpower to make the election peaceful so that every voter in the state can go freely to defeat polling booths and exercise their franchise.
This visit by the police boss is an attempt to calm nerves and ensure a peaceful governorship poll in a state that has recently been experiencing violence as politicians campaign to canvass for votes.
By Lagos State government to provide affordable and not low-cost housing for inhabitants is the next story coming up shortly after this break.
I don't think the election was. What are the people saying?
5 local governments out of the 13 local government is more than many states in the north.
The economy is booming. Where is the economy booming? Bomb blast in Abuja.
Don't you have security?
Why are we fighting?
Presidency should not just sit in Abuja or in Asokoro or wherever he lives.
They're not sponsoring this local haram. They're not there.
Men cannot be there and be there at the same time.
The life of the citizens, community need to be protected.
It can't work out.
Bring the message of peace. Let there be proper devolution of power from the center. The center is too powerful.
The people, only on CORETV News.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Glad to have you back. As more homeowners continue to emerge in the Lagos home ownership mortgage scheme, the state governor Babatunde Fashola has declared that the government planned affordable and not low-cost housing for inhabitants. Fashola maintained that the mortgage scheme assigned for acquisition of the property is flexible and all-inclusive. He emphasized that the interest rate on the mortgage would remain single-digit.
Now, for those cynics who say that we have not done low-cost housing, I want them to first show me low-cost land. You have had the pain and the problem of Omonile, so they must give us low-cost land. They must also give us low-cost cement. They must give us iron rod, that is low-cost, and they must give us labor, that is low-cost. And they must also give me naira, that is low cost. Because when I started this job, you needed 118 naira to buy $1. It's now high cost dollar because it's now 170 naira.
He also admonished beneficiaries of the Lagos Homes Mortgage Scheme not to default in their monthly remittance, as this can hinder the entire exercise. 76 individuals out of the 158 applicants in the Lagos Homes raffle draw were successful for the month of May. And that's it on CORETV News on the hour. We shall bring you updates at the top of the hour. And it's a good way to say welcome to Core Digest this Thursday morning. Lots of things are happening around the world, from the missing Malaysian plane to the capsized ferry in North Korea, and of course the in South Korea, so to speak, and of course amidst lots of things happening around the world. But today, over 190 countries of the world, 193 actually, under the purview of the United Nations, are taking today and tomorrow out to celebrate and remember, reconcile as well, people who lost their lives in the World War II. And that, if you ask me, is relevant in the midst of all the war that is taking place. You recall Syria, South Sudan, Central African Republic, and of course Eastern Europe, where there's a loggerheads between Ukraine and Russia. I'm joined now by Shay Martins. Good morning, Shay. It's good to have you on the show today.
Good morning. Interesting, you will say. And this morning we are taking a look in Core Digest, the issue that concerns us, on internal insurgency, which has taken a world stage. And it's taken virtually all of the big powers to understand and appreciate the fact that terrorism is no longer an isolated matter. So everybody is involved now to help sort and seek the girls in Chibok. In the Sambisa forest, no matter how dense the forest may be, the American Special Forces are joining us as Nigerians, and the Special Forces from France will be coming, as we speak, on ground. The Chinese forces are joining, and of course Britain is sending Special Forces as well to join in the look and the search for the girls. We hope all goes well. But most importantly, we in Nigeria, what are we doing about it? Well, we've been singing. How into it?
Many are also of the opinion that we must tread carefully, you know, when we begin to talk about international support.
Indeed, indeed.
Now, Boko Haram has been raging quite a number of years before now. Now, the over 200 girls abducted. Of course, United Nations is saying this is crime against humanity. And I overheard the Prime Minister of Britain speaking passionately on the floor of Parliament yesterday, saying that something must be done. But we must also recall that terrorism in Nigeria has its own peculiarity, not to forget.
Terrorism everywhere has its peculiarities, but the reality here in Nigeria is, now that all of these international forces are coming along, what are we getting?
You must not forget what happened in 2012 when the British forces marched with the Nigerian military to rescue, is it an Italian, of course, a UK and an Italian hostage. Those people were killed before they got there. We must also recall what is happening in war-torn African countries.
All of that will come to in a short while. In the meantime, let's take a break, and Core Digest will come full-fledged right after. Don't go away.
CORETV News, expanding your views.